A Country Doctor by Orne Jewett, a captivating book review. Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into a literary gem from the late 19th century. A Country Doctor by Orne Jewett. This novel explores the life of a young woman pursuing a medical career in rural New England at a time when female doctors were rare. Is this historical novel still relevant today? Let's find out. Set in rural Maine in the late 19th century, A Country Doctor depicts American country life during a time of significant social change, particularly regarding women's roles in society. The novel vividly portrays the natural beauty of coastal Maine while examining the tensions between tradition and progress, personal desires and social expectations. In terms of length, A Country Doctor is relatively compact compared to other novels of its era, shorter than works like Eliot's Middlemarch or Dickens' David Copperfield. It's a quick read that can be completed in a few sittings, making it accessible even for those with limited reading time. This novel would appeal particularly to readers interested in women's history, early feminist literature, and rural American life. It's ideal for those who appreciate character-driven narratives with thoughtful social commentary. While teenagers could certainly understand the plot, the novel's nuanced exploration of vocation and social expectations might be better appreciated by readers 16 and older. Plot. Just a heads up, this part contains spoilers, so skip ahead if you want to avoid them. A Country Doctor follows the life of Nan Prince, an orphaned girl taken in by Dr. Leslie, a country physician in the fictional town of Oldfields, Maine. After her mother's death and her father's earlier abandonment, Nan is briefly cared for by her grandmother before being adopted by the kind and progressive Dr. Leslie, who becomes her guardian and mentor. As Nan grows up, she displays a natural aptitude for medicine, a keen intelligence, compassion for the suffering, and a scientific mindset. Dr. Leslie recognizes these qualities and begins to nurture her interest in medicine, despite knowing the significant social barriers facing women in the medical profession. The novel follows Nan's development from curious child to determined young woman as she faces the decision between pursuing medicine, her true calling, or accepting a more conventional life path. This dilemma is heightened when she meets and develops feelings for George Jerry, a young man whose expectations of marriage would likely conflict with her professional ambitions. Nan's wealthy maternal aunt, Miss Nan Prince, attempts to draw her into genteel society, hoping she will abandon her unfeminine medical aspirations. During a visit to her aunt's home, Nan experiences the luxurious life she could have but remains unmoved in her commitment to medicine. After much soul-searching and conversations with her mentor, Nan ultimately chooses her vocation over conventional expectations. She rejects marriage to pursue medical studies, convinced that her greatest contribution to humanity lies in becoming a doctor. The novel concludes with Nan's confident embrace of her calling, suggesting her future success in the medical field. The supporting characters are richly drawn, from the wise and progressive Dr. Leslie to the practical housekeeper Mrs. Graham, who initially disapproves of Nan's unconventional path but ultimately supports her. Miss Prince represents the traditional societal expectations for women, while various townsfolk illustrate both the prejudices and support Nan encounters. I give it a score of 8 out of 10 for plot. While not action-packed by modern standards, the novel's strength lies in its psychological depth and its courageous exploration of a woman's professional ambitions at a time when such themes were rarely addressed. Jewett crafts a narrative that feels both intimate and socially significant, balancing personal development with broader cultural commentary. Point. A Country Doctor delivers remarkably progressive insights for a novel published in 1884. At its core, the book champions the revolutionary idea that women might be naturally suited for professions traditionally reserved for men, not despite their womanhood but because of the very qualities associated with it: empathy, attention to detail, and nurturing instincts. Jewett challenges the prevailing notion that marriage and career were mutually exclusive for women. Through Nan's decisive choice of vocation over matrimony, the author suggests that some women might be called to different paths and that society benefits when individuals follow their true callings. As Nan reflects, God would not give us the same talents if what were right for men could not be right for women. The novel thoughtfully examines the concept of vocation or calling, the idea that some life paths choose us rather than the reverse. Dr. Leslie tells Nan, "A doctor's life is waiting for you. You were called into the world with a fitness for such work." This spiritual dimension elevates Nan's choice beyond mere personal preference to something akin to destiny or duty. Jewett also explores class differences in rural New England with nuance and sensitivity. Through the contrast between Nan's life in Oldfields and the more refined existence offered by her aunt, the novel suggests that authentic purpose trumps social status and material comfort. The author's portrayal of rural medicine shows deep respect for both scientific progress and traditional wisdom. Dr. Leslie represents an ideal blend of modern medical knowledge and intimate familiarity with his community, a model that remains relevant to discussions of healthcare today. While some modern readers might wish for an even more radical conclusion, perhaps showing Nan succeeding in her profession rather than merely choosing it, Jewett's perspective was boldly feminist for its time. Her argument that women's supposed limitations were primarily social constructs rather than natural deficiencies was a significant challenge to 19th-century assumptions. I give it a score of 9 out of 10 for point. The novel's ideas about gender, vocation, and individual fulfillment remain remarkably relevant today, even as many of the specific barriers Nan faced have diminished. Its nuanced approach to women's choices feels surprisingly modern, and avoids both simplistic moralizing and easy answers. Style. Jewett's writing in A Country Doctor exemplifies the regionalist or local color movement in American literature. Her prose is characterized by precise, loving depictions of rural New England landscapes and careful attention to the speech patterns and customs of Maine's coastal communities. Consider this passage describing the countryside. "The pine woods were sweet and fragrant, and the wind that blew through them was sweet with wild flowers and the ferns that grew in shady places." Such descriptions create a vivid sense of place that functions almost as another character in the narrative. The author excels at creating atmosphere rather than merely advancing plot. Many chapters feature contemplative scenes, walks through nature, quiet conversations by fireplaces, or reflective moments alone, that develop character and theme through subtle means. This deliberate pacing may challenge readers accustomed to more plot-driven novels but rewards patience with psychological insight and atmospheric richness. Jewett employs free indirect discourse skillfully, allowing readers access to characters' thoughts without always announcing when narration has slipped from objective description to subjective experience. This technique creates intimacy with the characters while maintaining a certain narrative distance that permits social commentary. The dialogue feels authentic to the period and region while remaining accessible to modern readers. Jewett captures distinctions in speech patterns between educated characters like Dr. Leslie and rural farmers or sailors without resorting to caricature or phonetic spelling that might obscure meaning. The novel's structure is episodic rather than tightly plotted, mirroring the rhythms of country life and a doctor's practice. Some readers might find this leisurely approach less engaging than more dramatically structured narratives, but it suits the novel's themes and setting perfectly. Jewett's style is marked by restraint. Emotional scenes are powerful precisely because they avoid melodrama. When Nan makes her final decision about her future, the moment is conveyed with quiet determination rather than grand declarations, reflecting both the character's personality and the author's stylistic preferences. I give it a score of 8 out of 10 for style. While Jewett's prose may sometimes feel quaint to contemporary readers, its clarity, precision, and emotional resonance remain impressive. Her ability to convey complex psychological states through seemingly simple observations demonstrates remarkable literary skill. Conclusion. I give it a score of 8.3 out of 10. A Country Doctor stands as a significant achievement in American literature, both as an intimate portrait of rural New England life and as an early feminist exploration of women's professional ambitions. Nearly 140 years after its publication, the novel's central questions about vocation, gender expectations, and individual fulfillment remain startlingly relevant. Jewett's greatest accomplishment lies in creating a protagonist whose struggle feels neither dated nor simplified. Nan's conflict between personal calling and social expectations resonates across time, even as specifics change. The author treats all her characters with empathy, avoiding easy villains even among those who oppose Nan's choices. The novel's strengths, its psychological depth, atmospheric writing, and progressive themes, far outweigh its occasionally episodic structure and leisurely pace. For readers willing to adjust to its 19th-century rhythms, A Country Doctor offers both historical insight and timeless wisdom about following one's true path. I particularly recommend this novel to readers interested in women's history, early feminist literature, or American regionalist writing. It would also appeal to those drawn to character-driven narratives that explore professional calling and the courage required to defy social conventions. Healthcare professionals might especially appreciate Jewett's thoughtful portrayal of rural medicine and the doctor-patient relationship. Ready to experience this timeless classic for yourself? Get your copy of A Country Doctor in paperback today. Click in description below to order directly from my KDP store on Amazon and have this beautiful edition delivered straight to your door.